The rain fell in thick sheets over the small, sleepy town of Cedar Ridge. It was the kind of evening where everyone retreated indoors, wrapped in blankets, sipping hot cocoa, and watching the storm from behind glass windows. But out on the side of Route 19, soaked to the bone and carrying a duffel bag that had seen better days, walked Sergeant Emma Whitlock. Her combat boots squelched in the mud with each step, her military uniform sticking to her frame. The army had brought her back home after 2 tours overseas, but home didn't feel like it anymore. Her parents were gone, her fiancé had moved on, and she had nowhere left to go. The world she once knew didn't seem to recognize her anymore. As thunder cracked overhead, Emma's body trembled, not just from the cold but from the weight of loneliness pressing down on her. She didn't cry. Soldiers weren't taught to cry. They were taught to survive. But at that moment, even survival felt like a burden. Then, from the distance, the soft rumble of a car engine cut through the storm. Headlights pierced the fog and rain. A beat-up blue pickup truck slowed down as it neared her, the wipers working hard to keep the windshield clear. The truck rolled to a stop beside her. The window rolled down, revealing a rugged man with stubble on his jawline, dark eyes filled with concern, and a gentle voice that didn't quite match his rough appearance. "You all right, ma'am?" he asked, leaning across the passenger seat. "You need a ride somewhere?" Emma hesitated. Instincts screamed caution, but exhaustion overruled them. She nodded slowly. "I don't want to be a bother," she said hoarsely. "You're not. Hop in. Nobody should be walking in this weather." She climbed in, clutching her bag tightly, still tense as she glanced around the cab. It smelled faintly of pine, engine oil, and something sweet, maybe cinnamon. "I'm Jack," the man said, offering a quick smile before pulling back onto the road. "Jack Turner. And you?" "Emma." "Sergeant Emma Whitlock," she replied, still unsure how much of herself to reveal. Jack nodded, not pressing for more. "You hungry, Emma?" "My little girl and I were just about to eat dinner." "You're welcome to join us." "No pressure." Emma blinked. "You have a daughter?" "Yup. Olivia. She's 6. Smartest little troublemaker you'll ever meet," he chuckled. "Single dad life. Keeps me on my toes." Despite herself, Emma smiled. It was the first genuine smile she had managed in days. Jack's modest home was nestled behind a line of pine trees. Warm light spilled from the windows, and the sight made Emma's heart ache with a longing she hadn't realized she still had. Inside, Olivia ran up with mismatched socks and a chocolate-smudged face, stopping short when she saw Emma. "Daddy, who's she?" she asked, tilting her head. Jack crouched beside her. "This is Emma. She's a real-life soldier, sweetheart. She's going to have dinner with us tonight." Olivia's eyes went wide. "Like a superhero?" Emma chuckled softly. "Something like that." Dinner was simple, grilled cheese and tomato soup, but to Emma, it felt like a feast. Jack and Olivia welcomed her like she belonged, asking questions without intruding, laughing without judgment. For the first time in years, Emma let her guard down. She watched as Olivia clung to Jack's arm, demanding a bedtime story, and something inside her shifted. She envied their bond, raw, unfiltered, and filled with unconditional love. After Olivia went to bed, Jack handed Emma a cup of tea and nodded toward the living room couch. "You're welcome to stay the night. I've got some extra blankets." Emma hesitated. "I don't want to impose." "You're not. We've got room. And from the looks of it, you need a place to rest." Something broke inside her then. Not a painful break, but a release. She nodded, whispering, "Thank you." That night, as Emma lay on the couch wrapped in warmth and silence, she stared at the ceiling and allowed herself to breathe. For the first time in months. The storm had passed, outside and within. Chapter 2, The Knock That Changed Everything. Days turned into weeks. Emma never intended to stay long, but the warmth of Jack's home and the spark of Olivia's laughter made leaving harder each morning. She helped Jack fix his truck, ran errands with Olivia, and even started volunteering at the local VA center. Her nightmares didn't vanish, but they dulled in Jack's presence. He never pried into her past, never asked about what she'd seen or done. he simply gave her a space to exist, to rebuild. And that was enough. One crisp Saturday morning, as golden leaves fluttered in the wind, Jack invited Emma to Olivia's school fair. They watched the little girl win a ring toss, eat too much cotton candy, and giggle uncontrollably as Jack hoisted her on his shoulders. Emma couldn't ignore the feeling that bloomed in her chest, a strange, aching warmth she hadn't felt since before the war. She caught herself watching Jack when he wasn't looking, noticing how gently he spoke to Olivia, how his eyes crinkled when he smiled, how his voice dropped when he said her name. Later that evening, as they tucked Olivia into bed, the girl whispered sleepily, "I wish you were my mommy, Emma." Emma froze, blinking back tears. Jack's hand brushed her back. He didn't say a word, but in that moment, she knew he felt the same. But life wasn't a fairy tale. One rainy night, just like the one when they met, there came a knock at the door. Jack opened it, and standing there, drenched and wild-eyed, was a man Emma hadn't seen in years. "Emma," the stranger said. "It's me. Chase." Her ex-fiancé. Jack stiffened. Emma's world tilted. Chase had been her everything before the war. But he hadn't written. Hadn't called. Hadn't even come to her welcome home ceremony. He looked different now, more tired, more desperate. "I made a mistake, Emma," he said, his voice cracking. "I never should have left. I want you back." The room spun. Jack stepped aside, giving her space. Olivia peeked from behind a corner, confusion on her small face. Emma stared at Chase, her heart pounding. Part of her wanted to scream, part of her wanted to cry. But she didn't either. "You're too late," she said softly. "You left when I needed you most. And I found something better, someone who stayed." Chase's shoulders sagged, and without another word, he turned and disappeared into the rain. Jack said nothing. Emma walked toward him and took his hand. "Thank you for never walking away," she whispered. In the months that followed, Emma officially moved in. Olivia called her Mom without hesitation. Jack and Emma built a life of slow healing, quiet mornings, and joyful nights. She found herself again, not as a soldier, not as someone broken, but as a woman who had been lost and was now home. And every time the rain fell, she smiled, because it reminded her of the night she met the men who changed her life forever.